The views and opinions expressed in this program are not necessarily those of Union Broadcasting Inc., ESPN 1510, or its employees. The host is solely responsible for the on-air content.
This is Casey Cares, Kansas City's nonprofit digital resource, produced by Charitable Communications. We'll tell the stories of Kansas City nonprofits and the people behind them. Casey Cares is proudly sponsored by the Ewing Marion Kaufman Foundation. I'm Ruth Baum-Biggis. Bobby is away, but we have a great lineup of guests. We have a returning guest, but in a new capacity. Janee Hanzlick has returned.
Yay, I'm glad to be here.
Yay, but she is no longer the CEO of a local nonprofit. She has joined the government. We can't say the government man, you're a government woman.
That's right. That's right.
As the 4th District Johnson County Commissioner. Congratulations,
Thank
of all.
Thank you. I've been on the job 8 months now.
8 years,
yes,
right?
It feels like 8 years
8
sometimes.
Years.
Other
8
times,
months.
8 days.
8 months. And I would like to allow you to explain, what does the Johnson County Commission do? What is it all about? Because I'm not sure everybody knows.
No, you're right, Ruth. I have to answer that question a lot. What is the Board of County Commissioners? Well, the Board of County Commissioners in Johnson County is a board of 7 elected commissioners. 6 have districts, and then the 1 is at large, and that's the chair. And most people know that the chair, who's currently Ed Eilert, former mayor of Overland Park. So most people, when I say Ed Eilert, they know what I'm talking about. But the Board of County Commissioners is actually a very powerful group of people. The board, first of all, sets the budget for the county. They set the priorities for the county. They oversee legislating the areas over which the county has control, which are generally the unincorporated areas of the county. But most importantly, most people don't realize that the county commission oversees a lot of things that directly impact their life. For example, the county commission oversees Johnson County wastewater. That's one of our largest budget items. And most people don't give that much thought. No,
we just take it for granted, that's for sure.
They assume when they flush, everything turns out where it's supposed to go, and it does. We also oversee the Johnson County Parks and Rec Department, the libraries, the Mental Health Center, MedAct, the Sheriff's Office, and Human Services and Aging, among many, many other things. So most people don't realize all of that is taken care of at the county level.
How did they come up with the number 7? Commission wasn't always 7, was it?
No. In the past, it was originally, I believe, 3. Our commission is governed by a charter that was originally adopted in 2000. It changed the structure of the county government, and in fact, we have another county charter committee coming up in 2021 that will review how the county is governed and the structure, and at that point has the opportunity to potentially make some changes, including the number of commissioners, the what offices are elected or not elected. For example, the sheriff is elected. That could be changed by the charter commission. And so it'll be actually a very exciting time to have those reviewing what we do in our county.
It'll be interesting to see how much public input or voicing there will be.
Yes.
Let's go back, if we can, to the fact that you are elected. It's interesting elections.
Yes. It was interesting because prior to the November 2018 election, all 7 of the Johnson County commissioners were men. And we now have 2 women on the county commission. And even more important to me is that the 2 new commissioners, myself and Commissioner Becky Fast of District 1, we are both social workers. And that was a major reason that I ran, Ruth, was because there have been no commissioners who have a background in human services. And as I mentioned, the commission oversees mental health, human services and aging, transit, all things that impact our mental health services, our human services, and I felt it was important to have that perspective brought to the county commission.
I'm really surprised that there wasn't. So women and social workers.
Yes.
I also think it's interesting it's a nonpartisan election as opposed to, it seems like everything else is not nonpartisan. So did you find that helpful? Was that different than you anticipated because it was nonpartisan?
Somewhat. For example, when I was out at canvassing at doors, I would always, when people would ask me, well, what party are you with? I'd always say, well, this is a nonpartisan race. And if they insisted, I would go into that more. But most people were more interested in how I felt about mental health. They were more interested in my background in human services than they were in politics. I had wonderful conversations at the doors that had nothing to do with politics.
And how much weight did you lose as you walked in hot weather?
Yes, actually I did. And walking and knocking doors was really my favorite part of campaigning.
Really?
Even though it was hot, it was just so much fun to talk to people and hear what their concerns are. And every year the county does a citizen satisfaction survey. And last year, some of the top concerns were, public safety, mental health services, and human services. So people were very anxious to talk about those issues. And with my background, I was able to give them a lot of information and tell them what I think needs to be done, and that would be a priority for me.
Let's take our listeners back, though. You come to government service, quasi-nonprofit-ish, from nonprofit. Mm-hmm. Let's take them back. Safe Home. You were with that organization for a few years.
20 years. I was at Safe Home and kind of, quote, retired from there about, in early 2018. And actually, this was not what I was thinking of doing. When I retired, I actually thought about going back into direct client work because I really missed that rather than administrative work. But a number of people came to me, people that I respect, people who have been in elected office, and said, we really need someone like you with your background in human services to be on the county commission. So I gave it a lot of thought, and I decided, you know what, if not me, who, and if not now, when. So here I am.
Any regrets so far?
Most days, no.
How being involved in nonprofit, how has that impacted now what you're doing on the commission?
Well, it's really been very satisfying to me, Ruth, because I've been able to bring a different perspective. I've been able to advocate for issues that previously had not had that level of attention or had people who could address very specific aspects of those issues. For example, transit is one of my priorities, and I have been asking a lot of questions. What are our priorities with transit? Who are we trying to serve? And how do we make that happen? And I've been very, very pleased that I've had a lot of favorable response to that. The staff that I work with has been just fantastic. And I feel that I feel like this is a really exciting time for Johnson County because so many issues that when I started with Safe Home all those years ago, people didn't even believe that domestic violence was a problem in Johnson County, let alone mental health issues or suicide or aging issues or poverty. And now we're talking about them and we're looking for solutions. And even though we have a long way to go, I'm really excited that we're moving in that direction and that I'm in a position to help move that conversation forward to find solutions.
What other skill sets have transferred for you?
Wow, that's a great question. Well, I've always said that my original training as a therapist has always helped me in all of my relationships. And so I think I approach this work on the county commission with a different perspective in terms of collaboration, finding solutions, looking at what exists and what could be. I'm not a professional politician. That was never my goal, and so I look at it through the eyes of a social worker.
So you're now the county commission therapist. No, those skills that a therapist has, listening.
Yes,
I would think.
Yes.
When you went door to door, did that shock people that you wanted to hear? I mean, I always think that people want to tell someone and they never know who to tell other than getting on their phones and tweeting and doing things they shouldn't do.
Oh, yes. One of the things that really struck me when I was going door to door was the number of people that when I would mention my background and mention that mental health was one of my priorities, the number of people who would quietly close the door behind them and step out on their front porch and they'd say, I am so glad you are doing this because, and you can fill in the blank, my adult son or daughter is living with me and they have, again, fill in the blank, schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, substance abuse problems, and I don't know what to do. And we need more resources for people like my family. And it was really, it didn't matter. It could be the most modest house to the most grand house, same stories. So people are struggling behind closed doors to find the correct human services, and I feel like that's something I can be a voice for.
Now, you serve on committees or boards as a commissioner. What are the ones that you sit on?
Well, I am the liaison for the commission to the Johnson County Library Board, the Juvenile Corrections Advisory Board, the MARC Board, the Mid-America Regional Council Board, which is very exciting and interesting. I'm also the liaison to the you don't want to forget anybody. The JCERT, Johnson County Education Research Triangle, and I'm also on the Intergovernmental Policy Committee that we are actually looking at ways to reduce recidivism in to reduce incarceration of transitional age youth. So all of these things are right pretty much in my wheelhouse, and I feel like I've been able to bring a lot of perspective that maybe hadn't been there before.
Now, does every commissioner sit on as many different boards, et cetera? That seems like a lot.
Yeah, I think I have the most for some reason, but that's okay.
The newbie gets the load, right?
But usually most of them are on 4 or 5. And actually, that's another thing that I think people don't realize, and this is something that I think is so important for people in the nonprofit world. And in fact, I've been reaching out and trying to encourage people. First of all, the county commission meets every week at 9:30 on Thursdays. And at the beginning of every single meeting, there is an open public comment session. And anyone can come and speak before the county commission on anything they want for 5 minutes. So I've been encouraging nonprofit groups to come and speak to the county commission and encourage them. Tell us what you're dealing with. Tell us the problems that you're seeing. Tell us what's working, what's not working. Because especially for my fellow commissioners who don't have a background, they're often surprised. They have no idea what some of the issues are. So that's something I really encourage nonprofits to do. Please reach out to your elected officials. That's what I'm there for. And I love meeting with groups and finding out what their needs are. But please take advantage of that public comment time every Thursday morning.
Do you have to register?
Nope. You just come in. You don't have to do anything. The only thing you're asked to give your name and address. But no, anyone can come in. There's no pre-registration required. The other thing that people can take advantage of through their county commissioner is we make appointments to boards and commissions. I mentioned those commissions for which I serve as a liaison. I have appointments to all those boards, and each commissioner does. So we have the opportunity to help people get in connection with those boards and bring their own expertise. For example, my first month on the commission, I had an appointment to Johnson County Parks and Rec Board, and so I appointed someone I know who is an architect who does sports fields. So that is another way that nonprofit leaders can get involved in county government. Contact me. Let me know what you're interested in.
So how can people reach you? Is there a website? Is there?
Yes, they can go to jocogov.org, and all of the county commissioners' contact information is listed there. I'm at janee.hanzlick@jocogov.org or 913-715-0434.
And we'll put that on our Facebook so people can follow. And if they're not in your district, you'll direct them to the person that is. The community is so lucky to have had you as a nonprofit leader, and now all your expertise on the commission. And thank you for enlightening us and our listeners to what the commission does. It's a really, really important, connection. Touch the people. People get frustrated at the national level. Here you are.
Yes.
You can help with things that are right here that impact us every day.
Exactly.
So, Janee, thank you. I hope you'll come back.
Oh, absolutely.
In a year, and we'll see how much thinner she is with worry and work.
Not with all these luncheons and breakfasts I have to go to.
We'll be back after this.
Inspired by Ewing, Marion Kaufman, the Kaufman Foundation believes that every person, regardless of their background, can take risks, achieve success, and give back to their communities. We work together with our Kansas City community and beyond through investments in education and entrepreneurship that create uncommon solutions. By listening first to the communities we serve, we seek to understand the problems and dream big with people to build innovative programs that deliver results. Ewing Kaufman worked hard to make Kansas City a major league city. We strive to continue that legacy today, challenging ourselves and our community to take calculated risks, solve problems, and help empower people to shape their future. Learn more at Kaufman.org.
I guess we got caught up in the crazy housing boom.
I lost my job and lost my benefits.
We had been in the house so long, we didn't want to lose it.
I was only going to pay interest for the first 5 years.
I fell really behind in my mortgage payments and received a foreclosure notice.
But we couldn't pay this.
We got hit pretty hard when the introductory mortgage rate expired.
What these people share is that they all got in trouble with their mortgages, and they all called a certified housing counselor for help.
Our housing counselor looked at our paperwork and she knew something was wrong.
She understood what needed to be done, and she helped me work it out with the bank.
The housing counselor got to the right people right away.
This is a free service. If you think you're in trouble, don't wait. Call the National Foundation for Credit Counseling now. The earlier you call, the better your options.
We were smart. We called a housing counselor before we got into some serious trouble.
To find a certified counselor near you, call 1-866-687-6322 or visit mortgagehelpnow.org.
The wedding is just the icing on the cake. The best part of marriage is being on life's journey together.
Hurry up, kids, we're late.
It takes patience, communication, and a little creativity.
Babe, have you seen my cell?
For instance, we agreed to set our clocks ahead 15 minutes so we're always on time. Right, honey?
The Art of Compromise. Just one of the helpful topics you'll find at twoofus.org. Sponsored by the National Healthy Marriage Resource Center and the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Inspired by Ewan Marion Kaufman, the Kaufman Foundation believes that every person, regardless of their background, can take risks, achieve success, and give back to their communities. We work together with our Kansas City community and beyond through investments in education and entrepreneurship that create uncommon solutions. By listening first to the communities we serve, we seek to understand the problems and dream big with people to build innovative programs that deliver results. Learn more at Kaufman.org.
You're not wired to have a response to this sound. You're neutral to it. You hear it every time you finish a meal and never feel anything. But if we were able to associate this sound with a new stimulus, save the food, we've achieved pulling a natural response from you. Save the food. Why are we doing this, you may ask? Save the food. Because this ad is trying to change your after-meal behavior through brainwashing. Because food waste costs the average family $1,500 a year. Save the food. Cha-ching. And $1,500 extra bucks is like getting a pay raise. Save the food. Cha-ching. You're promoted. Which could pay for your child's braces. Save the food. Cha-ching. You're promoted.
Check out my braces.
So when you hear this sound, rethink your behavior. Cook it, store it, share it. Just don't waste it. For tips and recipes, visit SaveTheFood.com. Brought to you by NRDC and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Casey Cares, Kansas City's nonprofit voice and digital resource. We're helping organizations to survive and thrive, and we'll tell your story to our community. I'm Ruth Baum-Biggis. We are honored to have in the studio this morning Roger Kemp, who's a pretty amazing gentleman. You may know Mr. Kemp from his work to establish the Ali Kemp Foundation. Ali Kemp was his daughter. And I'm going to let Roger kind of tell the story of why he started his foundation and what it's all about. Roger, thank you for coming back. It's been a long time since we've had you on, and I thought it was a good opportunity to share what you're doing, why you do it, how you do it.
Thank you, Ruth. It's great to be here, and I really appreciate you having me on. Good to see you. We started the foundation. We lost our daughter, Allie, on June 18th, 2002 at the local Leewood swimming pool to a predator who came in and attacked her. She fought for her life. He fought, and he took her life, and it was very brutal, and I found Allie in the pool house. The 2 weeks after we lost Allie, my wife and I never wanted senseless tragedy like this to happen again to another little girl out there in our community. And we wanted to start a self-defense program for women and our children. And we're surrounded by wonderful people, didn't have a clue how to do it, but found some people came up to us, said we know how to do this program. We put it together. It's called Take Defense, which stands for the Ali Kemp Educational Foundation.
First of all, again, sorry for your loss for Ali.
Ruth.
What a beautiful young woman. And when I was looking at the website, just her face had such joy. So that brought some peace, I hope, for people who do go to the website. And do go to the website. We'll take 2 seconds to mention the website, which is takedefense.org. You're dealing with a tragedy, and you decide to do something for somebody else. I think that's incredible. How did you pull it together to make a foundation? And why did you decide to go a foundation route? It's not easy to do those things.
No, I mean, we didn't know how to do any of this. I mean, you can get into the reward funds. I've been contacted by a lot of people. How do you do the reward funds? How do you start up a foundation? You have all these things we've never dealt with before in our life. And the foundation from the reward fund, we had one of the tipsters, they're anonymous, of course, and the reward fund was $50,000, and we were really torn how to do the reward fund. It started at $2,000, raised it, and it could have gone much higher, but then you're dealing with the people we're dealing with that were turning their best buddy for a carton of cigarettes. So, but anyway, we had $40,000 from a tipster, and he contributed it back to the foundation. That was the basis to get us going on this. And then we met with all the local parks and recreation departments in the Kansas City area. It was all women in these, and we had a moderator and said, how do we put this together? And through that, Jill Liker came up and said, you don't know what I do you? And I said, no. And Jill and her husband, Bob, they're in martial arts. They've risen very high in their discipline. And they put this program together about safety awareness. And then if the unthinkable happens, what you can do, anyone out there, defend themselves, get on their feet, run away, and go home at night if the unthinkable happens. But we're about safety awareness, number one. It's a 2-hour class they do. We've had over 68,000 people go through our classes. We have saved lives, and it's very humbling when someone says your class saved my life. And every story, when they say that, is just what you'd think. It's an unbelievable, like really, it's not possible that happened, but they got out of the situation.
How are you organized as a foundation? Is it primarily these classes? Do you do other things as a foundation?
No, we do the Take Defense program. We're in partnership with Johnson County Park and Rec, and that gives us the capability. Jill Liker is with Johnson County Park and Rec, and that gives us the capability. I don't have to have an office somewhere. That gives us the office facilities and don't have to have all those expenses. So we're really bare bones operation.
Lean and mean in a nice way. Right. You're lean and mean in a nice way.
Yes.
You're doing good work.
Yes. And we go all over the United States doing our classes. We go to college campuses. We go to UCLA, for instance, and I name drop.
Please do.
And we go there, and the first time we went out there, they couldn't find it. You know, it's a huge campus, lots of buildings. They couldn't find a place for us anywhere, of course. They don't know what we're all about. And so we're out in, you wouldn't think in L.A., but we're out in the trees, which we don't do them outside, but no space for us. So that translated from they understood what we're all about. Now we're in the hugest, largest ballroom I've ever seen in my life. Had 1,000 in there, and now we're on the John and Nellie Wooden basketball court at UCLA.
That's amazing.
So they figured out what we're all about. We have huge classes out there, and it's just wonderful to go there. And we go into urban areas that are not good. Every time we go into these urban areas, and we go back and back, and they'll say, it's not good here, but it's getting better. And they say that every time. But we're there, and, you cannot put a value on a life, and that's what we're all about. We don't want another senseless tragedy to happen to a little girl out there.
How do folks come to you now? How do they find you? Is it strictly I'm fascinated that you ended up out at UCLA.
Yeah.
So was that just a word of mouth?
Well, Ali was Pi Beta Phi at Kansas State University. We have the AD Pies. They fight over us to come to campuses. Sometimes they team up. I was Sig Ep Sigma Phi Epsilon. We're one of their partners, and these organizations team up to have us come to campuses to put on, go across the United States. So we've been to universities, Division III to the major
right
universities, Yale, Harvard, places like that.
Well, thank you for having this
I'm name
wonderful...
dropping. I apologize.
I love it. But thank you for that resource. Now, do you charge for the workshops? How does it play out? I know you've got a lot coming up.
It's $2,500 to go out to these campuses, and that's what we've set up with the sororities. It's planes, trains, automobiles. Get back, and that's really running on the thin edge because we've had prices go up for airfare and everything, but we continue to do it because it's that important.
Oh, absolutely. How did you and the Likers connect? Did they reach out to you?
Yes. Jill came up to me at one of these workshops figuring out how we're going to do it. Again, we'd have 30 women. We had several of these workshops with moderator, what we want to do. And Jill came up to me and said, you don't know what I do you? And I said, no. And so we explained and got into it, and we did the ABCs. We did the boundary setting. I say we. It was Jill and her husband, Bob, who put this together. We started in the basement of Leawood City Hall with what we wanted to program we thought we'd present, and we held it to 20 people. We probably had 12 people show up. It went very well, and that 12 people it turned in, since we just had the 50th anniversary of Woodstock, I probably had 100, 200 people tell me that they were in the first class at the basement of Leawood City Hall, and I said, I remember you. You know, it's kind of like Woodstock. There were no
thousands,
one knows how many
right.
were there, but there was a lot more that said they were there. They were so. I take that as with a lot of pride, and people were, in the first classes, obviously, but that's how we held our classes for a long time at 20 people, because the quality of integrity of our program is key. We held them that, and then we went to 30 people, and then we opened it up, said, hey, we can handle this, and we opened it up to, like I said, now we have classes over 1,000.
Well, I've had the privilege of taking the class a couple of times.
Thank you.
Once with my daughter, which I was thrilled.
Were you in the basement of Leawood City Hall?
No, I was not in that basement. I'm sorry, but I've been in other places. And you say you don't do it outside, but don't you do a big partnership with the Royals?
We did. We did that for a few years, and it was, again, that's why going outside is difficult, and it was weather related, and it just really, we need to have an indoor venue.
It's a lot easier.
Royals were great, and we had a great time outdoors, but again, weather will get you.
Well, we just have to get the weather gods to cooperate, right?
Well, I know.
So how do you go about fundraising? It costs money to do this.
Yes.
How does that work for your foundation?
Well,
do you do events or?
Ruth, we only have one event that we do, and it's where we get our funds, and we have a golf tournament, and that is our sole fundraiser to do all these things. And, in saying that, and then we have the money we get from going to the universities, and then even though classes are free, and I mean that, if people want to make a donation when they come in to a local class or anywhere, why, we accept it. But we don't want to turn anyone away because they aren't able to make a donation. So we do get money from donations, people coming to our classes.
And now, again, tell us what's the age. Is there an age range that
Ruth,
can participate?
We go middle school, and we really started out and held our classes down. We go middle school to college is what we first envisioned. Mm-hmm. And then Mother said, would it be okay for me to come too? And I said, sure. And I really didn't know how I was going to be able to view that, because it was very fresh, and seeing mothers and daughters, and
right.
And I saw it, and it was the most wonderful thing in the world. It's the way it's supposed to be. And then you got the aunts and extended families, and then friends, and now we've been up through 90-year-old grandmother. Went to John Knox Village and did a class, and we've done a few there. And so it's one of the things that we do want to do, Ruth, and you ask how are we getting it out there and everything, and we want to reach so many more people and have a plan to do a take-it-home video where we want to have people have, I don't want to name names or, but they used to have the such and such parties, whatever it may be, and have a party and really invite, all your friends and come to your home and watch this video. And it's Take It Home, and it's about our take class and what we'll teach in that take class where people can learn in their home. We can reach thousands and thousands through doing this, and we do need funding to put together this program so we can get it out there, and then it will become self-funding as we get it going, because we will sell these programs. But to get it rolling, we need to do the first program, and it could be, I think, huge.
When do you hope to complete the video and roll one out.
Yes. Well, it takes funding, of course.
Money.
Yeah. Well, you hit it right on the head.
Money.
And it's to do this video, which I don't understand these costs, but here we are in the media studio, so you probably do. About $57,500 is what I've been told to put this together. And, partnership, someone to help shoulder this. They get the partnership, sponsorship, be on the videos. I can tell you we can do this. It will be done, through the success of our program that we have now, Take Defense. What we're doing has never been done before, Ruth. If you had any other organization out there, they would probably stick their chest out and say, gee, we've done 500, and we're at 68,000. So we received, as a foundation from President Obama for our work with Take Defense, the Presidential Citizens Award. And this was, I didn't know anything about this. It was put together by the two Kansas Republican senators. It was sent to the White House, President Obama's, and they have this nominations process. I didn't know anything about it until I was called and told that I was one of the nominees. And I thought, well, that'll be the end of that because of, quote, the Republican-Democrat setup. And then I was, this is typical government, I may say, I was notified by Valerie Jarrett at the White House that I was one of the finalists. And now that when I was one of the finalists, it was a secret and couldn't tell anybody. So that was the government part of it. And now it's a secret. You can't tell anyone you're a finalist. So I said, okay. And I thought, well, what happens to me if I tell somebody? But I don't know. But, so anyway, I was called and said that come to Washington, D.C. and come to the White House. And it was a great, great honor. Probably the last nonpartisan thing that's ever come out of Washington, D.C.
Oh, my gosh. How wonderful, though, and how deserving. Thank you so much for standing up from something so incredibly painful. I can't imagine, but you have made this gift, and what a wonderful legacy for Ali. It is takedefense.org. Take the opportunity to get to a class. The website has all kinds of information. Having done it, you don't have to be, quote-unquote, a gym rat to do it. It is basic stuff, and Roger, thank you for making it happen.
Thank you, Ruth. Thanks for having me on. I greatly appreciate it. Thank you.
Inspired by Ewing Marion Kaufman, the Kaufman Foundation believes that every person, regardless of their background, can take risks, achieve success, and give back to their communities. We work together with our Kansas City community and beyond through investments in education and entrepreneurship that create uncommon solutions. By listening first to the communities we serve, we seek to understand the problems and dream big with people to build innovative programs that deliver results. Ewing Kaufman worked hard to make Kansas City a major league city. We strive to continue that legacy today, challenging ourselves and our community to take calculated risks, solve problems, and help empower people to shape their future. Learn more at Kaufman.org.
When I was little, I didn't talk for a long time. I liked things to always be the same. Anything new or different would scare and upset me. I was very sensitive to lights and sounds. It was almost like I had bigger eyes and ears than everyone else. So I built secret hiding places where nothing could get in. I didn't like looking people in the eye. It made me feel uncomfortable. I'd throw big tantrums over little things like when my socks didn't match. Sometimes I'd do the same things over and over. Until one day, I found out I had autism. My family got me help. Slowly, I learned how to live with it better.
You can see signs of autism in children as young as 18 months. Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org/signs. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
Driving means
freedom,
exploration,
fun,
pride,
flexibility,
travel,
protection,
ability,
friendship,
excitement,
escape,
independence,
Distracted driving means
danger,
recklessness,
irresponsible,
chaos,
police,
devastation,
injury,
tears,
death.
Safe driving means staying alert and staying alive.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org, a message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, Noise, and the Ad Council.
Inspired by Ewan Marion Kaufman, the Kaufman Foundation believes that every person, regardless of their background, can take risks, achieve success, and give back to their communities. We work together with our Kansas City community and beyond through investments in education and entrepreneurship that create uncommon solutions. By listening first to the communities we serve, we seek to understand the problems and dream big with people to build innovative programs that deliver results. Learn more at Kaufman.org.
You wanted to see me?
Yes, please, have a seat. So here's the thing. When this company brought you on, we took a chance on you. You didn't have that 4-year college degree we typically look for.
Right.
But we gave you a shot anyway. And since then, you've worked incredibly hard and given it your all.
Thanks.
You've been an important asset to the team, but I don't think you can be an intern here anymore. We want to hire you.
You're serious?
Absolutely.
Find your next great employee. Introduce yourself to the Grads of Life. Who are they? Talent worth knowing about. Young adults of unique determination and experience. An ideal fit for your company in an entry-level position, internship, or even mentorship. They might not have every qualification you typically look for, but they're exactly who your company needs.
I won't let you down.
I know.
Don't miss out on a resource many innovative companies have already discovered. Go to gradsoflife.org to learn how to find, cultivate, and train this great pool of untapped talent. Brought to you by the Ad Council and gradsoflife.org.
Susie Orman here with a message from the FDIC. Recently, I got a letter from a woman who took all of her money out of the bank and put it in a shoebox. You know what I told her? Put it back in an FDIC member bank now. If you stay within coverage limits, you can't lose a penny. Go to myfdicinsurance.gov and click on Edie the Estimator to make sure your money is safe and sound. That's Edie at myfdicinsurance.gov. The more you know, the safer your money.
Welcome back to Casey Cares, Kansas City's window on the nonprofit community and the people they serve. I'm Ruth Baum-Biggis. Now we get to dive into really fun stuff. I love dogs. I love animals, and it's great that there are organizations in Kansas City that look out for the animals among us who bring us also much joy. We have with us today the Rescue Project with Andrea. Pronounce your last name.
Kenobi.
Thank you. I didn't want to butcher it. I would rather you tell me correctly.
Thank you.
Who's the founder of the Rescue Project?
Yep, I'm one of the original founders of the organization. We were founded in 2014, so we're celebrating 5 years of saving lives.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Not an easy task. And we have Amy Hyken-Lande, who is I called you a canine activist.
I like that.
And chair of the upcoming Holly Dog event.
Yes.
And we'll get into that a little bit later in the segment.
Great.
It's coming up so folks can really dive in and help pups and have a good time. Andrea, tell me about the Rescue Project. How? Why? When? Well, you heard when.
So I've actually been involved in animal rescue for over 20 years, and I've been involved in the sheltering aspect of it, fostering aspect of it, and I felt there was a really true need for outreach. So we literally, instead of people coming to us for a need, we go to them. People tend to be prideful, and they may really need help, but they may not know where to reach out to. So the mission of this group is to help forgotten, abused, neglected animals within Kansas City and surrounding areas. So one of the things that we do, we go out into the community, provide survival items like shelter, straw, food, those sort of things, tie outs. So we take animals off of large, heavy tow chains and relieve the pressure on their neck and their shoulders and put them on lightweight tie outs. So we just try to make life better. And along the lines is the foundation of education, which is absolutely key. A lot of people don't know the ordinances in which the cities, that they live in. They don't understand that there are pet limitations, like number of animals. They don't understand that some animals, like, for example, within Kansas City, Kansas, have to be spay and neutered. It's the city ordinance. So some people not only don't know that, they don't have the means financially to see that through. So that's where we come in and help them with that. So we're really big on communicating the city ordinances all around the metro area.
That's not an easy task.
No, it's not. A lot of people are very prideful. So we're infringing on their property. We're literally knocking on doors. And so, yeah, sometimes it's a very welcome conversation because they know we have free resources. And some people have to literally, and you wouldn't think in this area, have to choose between feeding their kids and their pets. And so that's where we come in. And we go around in our van to city, and we literally, like I said, knock on doors. We say we're here to help. We build a trusting relationship with pet owners. We don't judge because none of us ever know if we're going to need help.
That seems a little scary to me. I mean, you're knocking on doors. Yikes. How do you do that? How do you... And you're all volunteer.
It's 100% volunteer, 501c3 group.
So do you put your volunteers through training so they know how to approach a situation that
so there
sometimes
are
isn't always welcome?
Yeah, I'm a team lead, and there are several other team leads. They have to go through a lot of hands-on before someone's established as a lead, because the lead is responsible for that team out in the community, for their safety, for making decisions. So, yeah, there's definitely a lot to it.
How often do you go out? Is it an everyday thing?
About 3 times a week.
Okay. And how do you choose where you're going?
So it's interesting that you ask. We receive referrals from a wide variety of resources. So utility workers, postal workers, neighbors calling on neighbors, police officers, anybody who sees an animal in need, we encourage them to reach out to us. Because if we don't know, we don't know. But if we know, we have connections directly with KCMO Animal Control, KCK, and we have the ability to engage and make life better.
How big an issue is this in our community? And I'm talking metro.
It is honestly a very, very big issue. Now, in Overland Park, Leawood, areas like that, you don't see too much of neglect and abuse. But within the inner city community, there's a lot of homeless people that we help. There's a lot of people that just are not educated on here's where you can go for help. Here's the resources. So that's why when we founded this group, we bring the resources to people. And if someone needs a spay or neuter, or someone needs vaccines, or life-saving heartworm treatment, or even a broken leg, surgery for a broken leg, we financially contribute to that and assist.
Well, and I failed to mention we have a very special guest sitting in the studio. Tell us a little bit about our special guest.
So this is Fifi.
Fifi is very quiet. Fifi, I wish you would bark.
Yeah, Fifi is such a beautiful dog, both on the inside and the outside. She's about 6 years old, and today she is here with her foster mom, Candy. Candy is one of our most fabulous fosters. She and her husband have been fostering animals, bringing animals into their home for over 15 years. So you can only imagine how many lives that she saved. Fifi was an actual outreach dog. So that means Fifi was living outdoors, rain, sleet, snow, heat. We visited Fifi's residence several times. We offered to take Fifi off of their hands. They declined several times. We went back another time, and finally Grandma, who lived with the family, was moving back to Mexico and accepted our offer, and we were able to rescue Fifi. Fifi was heartworm positive. That means the owner did not keep Fifi up on heartworm preventative, which is a monthly thing. And so she just completed her heartworm treatment, which is very, very hard physically on the animal and very financially. It's a big financial burden on the rescues.
So she is in foster.
Yes.
With the intent
to find her forever home.
Okay, so let's talk about that element of your organization.
Okay. Our foster program is a huge component. We were founded because of the outreach piece, but we can't bring animals in unless we have a place for them to go. So it's an essential aspect of our organization. So we need fosters. And so dogs like Fifi need to be adopted. So we need adopters, we need fosters, we need more people, not only on outreach, going out into the community, but also opening up their homes like Handy has for animals. So we provide everything to our foster homes, so everything in terms of resources. So food, medical care, bowls, beds, anything that you can think of. We cover everything. We just need more people to open up their homes to foster animals. To save more.
How do you foster?
So you can go to our website. It's www.therescueproject.net/foster to fill out an application.
And you've got a very, very useful website. I'm looking right now at the foster. It tells me everything that you do, I do. How long in general do you have a foster?
Well, it really depends. Dogs like Fifi that go through heartworm treatment, that could be 3-4 months. And then there's a little challenge with that because Fifi is not spayed currently, and Fifi cannot go under anesthesia again for 4 more months. So it can be a very long process. There are some like puppies that the process is very minimal. They're cute, they're healthy. They're, everyone wants a puppy, it seems. So those can be, a month, depending on when we can get the animal into a vet. So we're really dependent on the vets that we work with in the area in terms of getting animals in quickly and getting them moved. So it varies.
Amy, how are you in this mix? Tell us a little bit how you're connected.
Sure. And also, I wanted to say thank you for having us on.
Oh, absolutely.
Today. Thank you very much.
It's really tough to look at a lovely little dog and lovely ladies. So there you go.
So Andrea and I actually used to volunteer for Heart of America Humane Society
and
years
Candy
ago.
as well.
Oh, and Candy as well.
Yeah, am I as well.
A long time ago. And then Andrea founded the Rescue Project, and I started doing some volunteering, some fundraising. And I just realized that fundraising is kind of my jam, and I'm really good at it. And
watch out. Everybody's going to be contacting you.
And yes. So that, everyone has a special role. I do love to foster. Outreach is just not my jam. And so it's wonderful that everybody has a place in the organization. But I like to do the fundraising so I can raise the money so they can do what they need to do to help the underserved animals.
Now, you have a big event coming up.
We do have a big event coming up.
Tell us all the details. It sounds just like so much fun.
Right. So this is the 4th time I've put on something like this. It's going to be September 21st from 11 to 3 at Dogtopia in Leawood. It's going to be an amazing event. We will have over 36 vendors. We'll have very unique vendors for the animals. We'll have items for people. We will have 2 food trucks. Again, food trucks for the dogs and food trucks for the people. We will have raffle prizes and door prizes. We have a kids zone this year with a photo booth and face painting and henna and cotton candy. So it's very family friendly. All 3 rescues that this is benefiting will be there. So the Rescue Project, Melissa Menagerie's Second Chance, and Big Dogs Huge Paws. So all the money raised will be divided among the 3 rescues. We will have swag bags for the first 200 with all kinds of fun stuff. And we have some wonderful sponsors. So I'm very much looking forward to it.
It's amazing that you say you like getting into the fundraising side. With all the nonprofits we talk to, everybody knows they've got to have money, but there seems to be sometimes this fundraising, and you love it. What is it about it that juices you in that nonprofit world?
I think I love it because I have a passion for animals and for helping animals. And so I started doing an event similar to this several years ago, and we did it downtown, and it had a pretty, we were very successful, and I found I have no problem asking for things. So I don't care if I'm rejected. So and most people love animals.
Oh, you won't be rejected.
Well, most people love animals, so my rejection rate is pretty low. So, like, for example, for this event, we went to Shields, UPS. We have a lot of wonderful sponsors, and no one said no. And even the stuff for the swag bags. A lot of the vendors, a lot of the businesses in Corbin Park, because that's where it's being held, they're donating to the swag bag. But yeah, it's something I enjoy doing, and I know where the money's going, so that's part of it. And yeah, I just love it, and I think I'm pretty good at it.
How much do you hope to raise?
That's a good question. So my goal is to raise $6,000, so $2,000 per rescue. So that is my goal. So the more people that come out and shop and bid on raffle prizes, the more money we'll make.
And so is it free for attendees, and then you want them to shop?
Yes.
Till they drop, so to speak.
Exactly. It is free to attend. You'll have to pay for raffle tickets, which will go. Each vendor donates a raffle prize.
Oh, how great.
And we put together baskets, and there's a lot of businesses outside of Corbin Park who are also donating. So we'll have a lot of those prizes. We'll have door prizes. So if you make any kind of donation to the rescue tables, they will all be there answering questions. So if you donate to any of the raffle tables, you will also get a ticket to be used for a door prize. We will get a percentage back from the food trucks. And yeah, all the vendors pay a fee to be there, and all that money will also go to the 3 rescues.
How does that $2,000 plus? Let's go for it. It's going to raise great money. How is that going to help the rescue project? How are you going to be able to use that?
That is a great question. So when we introduced Fifi went through heartworm treatment, and that is approximately $600 for every animal that goes through heartworm treatment. And last I checked, we have 7 heartworm positive animals in our program, because the majority of the animals that we take in are on the streets or they're in backyards. They don't get preventative or the care that they need. So it will go towards life-saving heartworm treatment. We also have a lot of clients that come to us that their dogs have parvo, which is a very dangerous disease. Parvo is spread through grass, it lives for 5 years on surfaces.
Oh, my gosh.
And so that's, again, from not being properly vaccinated. And so a lot of people come to us with younger dogs or very old dogs that their immune system is weak, and say, my dog has parvo. Well, if parvo is not treated in a timely fashion, it could mean death. So a lot of our resources go to helping people with that as well.
Will you have adoptable animals there?
We will. So all 3 agencies will have adoptables there. They will be inside Dogtopia. So, yes, we will have adoptables. So another reason to come out. We should have dogs and cats for adoption.
And where's the best place to find information on Holodog?
So and just to reiterate, it's at Dogtopia. It will be September 21st from 11 to 3. Dogtopia is off 135th and Metcalf. In Corbin Park. We have a lot of Facebook invites, but if you go on the Dogtopia website, you will find the information.
Thank you both for what you're doing, and thank you, Fifi. Thank all 3 of you for what you're doing. We have the silent guest over there. Fifi, we love you. We got ear raises, and take an opportunity to see what's out there helping animals who help us. Thank you for listening to Casey Cares, Kansas City's nonprofit digital resource, produced by Charitable Communications, a 501c3 nonprofit organization. Casey Cares is generously underwritten by the Ewing Marion Kaufman Foundation. Casey Cares podcasts are available at CaseyCaresOnline.org. If you want to be a guest or for underwriting opportunities, check out our website. You can spread the love and find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Casey Cares Online. Thank you for listening to Casey Cares on ESPN 1510 AM and 94.5 FM. And thank you, Chris.
I've been looking for the map that leads me home. ESPN Kansas City is KCTE Independence and K233 DM Raytown, 1510 AM, 94.5 FM.